NXT starts off with Cora Jade versus Stephanie Valkyrie. Stephanie Valkyrie picks up the victory. I don't really need to explain too much into the match. Um, but Stephanie Valkyrie ends up getting her payback for last week due to Cora Jade attacking her. After the matches were interesting though. Kalani Jordan ends up attacking Cora Jade after the match, and I was very confused by it because I know that 2 weeks ago it was Kalani who ended up making the save for Stephanie. But then this week it's Kalani attacking Cora because typically baby faces don't do that. Typically baby faces don't attack a heel unless they got attacked earlier in the show. Typically they don't just attack them randomly after they, because technically Kalani already got her payback, so it was really no reason for her to attack her. But after the match though, we end up getting a segment between Kalani, Stephanie, and Lola. Kalani is basically saying that she wanted revenge, she wanted payback, and that it's unfair for Lola and Stephanie to judge her because they don't practice what they preach, and that she doesn't need their help, and that she's done and she's tired of sitting back and she wants to take action. This is very interesting. Kalani is showing a more ruthless, a more aggressive side of her, which is very interesting. Now, I still think it's confusing because last week, she didn't get attacked last week, unless I'm forgetting something. I know 2 weeks ago, she ended up making the save for Stephanie. So I don't know what revenge she's really looking for with Cora Jade because Cora Jade hasn't really done much to Kalani. It's really Stephanie and Julia that really should be more concerned with Cora Jade. So I think that part don't make the most sense with Kalani. But this is interesting. I know Lola Vice and Kalani is confirmed for next week, but this is what I've been wanting from Kalani Jordan. Character work. Something with her character because my main issue with Kalani is that she's very bland and very boring. She literally had no character. Her character was basically, I'm a good person and I'm a fighter. That's really was just her character. Now they're giving her a little bit more of an edge to her, which I like. I don't know if this is going to be a heel turn. I think this is probably going to be something similar to like what they did with Carmen Petrovich. Because after Carmen Petrovich was feuding, I think it was with Lola Vice, if I'm not mistaken, and she was with Natalia for a bit. After she was done with Natalia, they gave her more of a edge to her character, gave her more of a aggressiveness to her character. So I think it's going to be a similar thing with that, which I'm very interested because I think Kalani needed this because her gimmick to me was terrible and very bland. So hopefully this can put me on the Kalani Jordan train because I've never been hyped on Kalani that high on Kalani, but this could get me on that train to see the potential in her. So hopefully we'll see how this plays out, but I'm excited to see how this plays out. Afterwards, we end up getting Lexis King versus Charlie Dempsey Heritage Cup match. Now, during this match, well, before the match actually, it was a segment where William Regal was talking to Lexis, and he was telling him that is he finally going to be able to do it. Lexis King thought that he meant winning the Heritage Cup, but William Regal wasn't alluding to that. He was alluding to using the brass knuckles. So during the match, William Regal was in his corner, and he wants Lexis King to use the knuckles, but Lexis King refuses and gives it back to William Regal. The ref is distracted. William Regal ends up punching Lexis King with the brass knuckles due to him refusing the offer, and then and then William Regal ends up throwing it. I think he ends up throwing it in the ring. Then Charlie Dempsey ends up picking up the brass knuckles because before that ended up happening, they ended up having like a collision. They both like collided to each other and ended up falling to the ground. That's why the ref was distracted checking up on Charlie. Charlie ends up picking it up and then the ref ends up seeing him with the brass knuckles, thinking that he punched thinks that he punched Lexis King, ends up getting him disqualified, and Lexis King is now the new Heritage Cup champion. This match, low-key, was a banger. I ain't gonna lie. They was low-key cooking in this match. But this was a very unique way to have Lexis King win. I'm very interested to see what the story they're going to tell here. Are they going to tell the story of... Because right now, Lexis King is still playing the story of him trying to be a different man and trying to do the right thing. But is he really going to continue to do the right thing after he figures out that he didn't win the match the way he was supposed to win? Or is he just going to go along with this? Very interesting. I was very shocked that they had Charlie Dempsey lose. I thought that if he was going to lose, he was going to pull the trigger and actually take the brass knuckles and actually cheat. But he didn't. This was a very unique way. Shawn Michaels found unique ways to have wrestlers win matches or have them lose matches without the typical interference and things of that nature. This was hilarious, but I'm interested to see where this story goes. After this, we end up getting Unholy Union versus Fatal Influence between JCJ and Jasmine Nix. I was very shocked that this even happened. They had a segment last week, but I didn't think I really gotta just start assuming that every backstage segment is gonna lead to a match, because a lot of these segments, they're not that intense or that heated to the point where I think it's worthy of a match, but apparently it was. Now, during this, you end up getting Gigi Dolan, Shotzi, and Tana Paxley out there. But then you get Kaden Carter and Chance out there, which makes zero sense because they ended up distracting Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley. They talking, going back and forth. Then you get JC Jane, she's on the top rope. But then you get Gigi Dolan ends up pushing her off the rope while the ref is distracted because he sees Katana Chance, sees the KCs, and the rest of Fatal Influence, going back and forth. So he's distracted. Gigi Dolan interferes, pushes JC off the top rope, which allows I think Albo Fire to pick up the victory for them. This Okay. I am so confused on this story because this story makes no sense. I understand why Tatum Paxley, Gigi, and Shotzi are there. That makes sense. Why are the KCs here? This makes no sense. Unless they have some history with Fallon, JC Jane, and them that I don't know about, you guys let me know. But this makes no sense. It also don't make sense because next week it's supposed to be the KC's Metaphor and I think Shotzi and Gigi Dolan. So them three are going to be in a triple threat tag team match. So I don't understand why the KCs are here. This would make sense if the NXT tag titles was still a thing. But since they're not a thing, I don't understand why they're here. This just doesn't make sense to me. I feel if the whole purpose was for you to have Gigi interfere, you could have still done that by just having Tatum Paxley and Shotzi's be the one to distract Fallon and Jasmine Nix. And then you could have still had the same outcome. The same thing. I'm so confused on why the KCs are here. Speaking of the NXT tag teams, they need to put the tag team titles on NXT. I've been a big advocate of getting rid of them on the main roster. They need to go to the NXT. They need to go to NXT. They need to go to NXT badly. If this is what you're going to do, if you're just going to put main roster tag teams on NXT, just put them on NXT because Bianca and Jade aren't going to defend them on NXT, especially Bianca and Naomi. And my prediction was correct that if Bianca and Jade get the tag titles, they're not going to be on NXT. But when someone else has them, of course, they're on NXT. So just put them on NXT. Have the NXT fight over them. Because there's a lot of women who are just not doing anything right now. Put them in NXT. Have something to fight for. After this, we're getting Ashanti Adonis and Dion Lennox. This match ends up happening for last week because Carmen Petrovic was actually forgiving of Ashanti, but then Dion and Carmen ended up hugging, which allowed Ashanti to see, and he thinks there's something going on. Ashanti ends up picking up the victory, but after this, not during this match actually, Nikita Lyons ends up coming out supporting Ashanti and actually end up helping him pick up the victory. That's going to be very interesting. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but like I said, I don't know the end goal of this whole Carmen Petrovic and Ashanti storyline, but this is a very goofy but entertaining storyline to me. I'm assuming it's going to lead to a tag match between Dion, Carmen, and Nikita and Ashanti because on commentary they kind of already leaked it with Vic Joseph already saying that it's probably going to be a tag match. So I'm assuming that's what it's going to lead to, with Carmen being jealous of Nikita and Ashanti and then them going back and forth. Like I said, don't know the end goal. I don't know it's going to be with them getting together, heel turn, whatever. But the story is somewhat interesting to me. After this, though, we end up getting the Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the number one contender for Nathan Action tag team titles. You get OTM, The Family, NQCC, and Hank and Tank. This match was fine. It was a decent match. During the match, though, towards the end, Tyson Tariq ends up attacking Hank and Tank. So it looks like Tyson is officially a heel now because it was originally Tariq that was the one that was more having heel characteristics. Now it looks like Tyson is fully on board. So looks like they're going to be feuding. They end up taking Hank and Tank out the match. Then you end up getting a guy in a Santa Claus suit, and they kept panning towards him throughout the entire show because I was so confused why they kept putting the camera on, because I was like, there's clearly someone under that Santa Claus suit. I just didn't know who it was. He ends up attacking Tony D'Angelo, and it was Reg Holland who attacked him. This allowed OTM to pick up the victory. I think they pinned. Yeah, they ended up pinning the Family, if I'm not mistaken. So OTM are now your new number one contenders. Yeah, I don't care. Look, OTM, You guys know how I feel about them. They're just so green, and their gimmick is just bad. That out the mud gimmick is bad. They need to change that gimmick. I think that's a big reason why they're not working. That gimmick is terrible. It's very stereo. It's a stereotype gimmick. Now I don't mind stereotype gimmicks, long as it's funny or if it works. This doesn't work. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna beat Nathan Axum. They shouldn't beat Nathan Axum, if I'm being honest. They're the least over tag team in this match, if I'm being honest. So they shouldn't beat them. But we'll see how that plays out. Ridge Holland is going to be the next opponent for Tony D'Angelo, which is good because Tony D'Angelo needed another heel. He needs something. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I'm interested in the Ridge Holland and Tony D'Angelo stuff. The tag team, not so much. Hopefully they do not put the titles on OTM because no, we do no. I'm sorry, do not put the titles on OTM. Then we get the main event. Trick Williams, Oba, Eddie, they're all three in the ring. This is very simple. Trick Williams demands that it be a triple threat. Ava comes out, makes it official, and then they all brawl with Oba standing tall. Didn't need to really go over the details here. This is exactly what I'm assuming most of us expected, it being a triple threat with all three of them being in the picture. It makes sense. They're clearly going to stretch Oba and Trick Williams out until Stand and Deliver. That's when probably Oba Femi would finally have his one-on-one match and him picking up the victory. I'm assuming Trick Williams is going to retain at New Year's Evil. I think it only makes sense. But overall, this was a solid show. For a tape show, this was a solid show. I was entertained for the most part. You guys let me know your opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.